And here we are back. We're in the after show, Afterthoughts, here with Patricia B. Snyder and goody. We had to end our session because that was the hour. And now we're going to talk a little bit more about theater and your experiences of it up in Albany, in the different theaters that you created, the companies and everything. But what I want to know is, what do you think is your favorite moment? What is your favorite moment?
Oh, wow. There were so many.
That's a good answer. That's good. Think
There
of
were
just,
so
think of a
many.
couple. Think of a couple then. Think of a couple.
Well, things that really triggered my determination to do the work to keep the theater going. One day, I was part of the audience of it was a Sunday matinee, and Ron Nakahara had directed a production of Treasure Island for us.
Mhm.
And I like pirates.
Okay.
Not real ones, but fairy
The,
tale.
the fairy tale ones. Yes.
Yeah. And Long John Silver was crossing the stage, and young Jim Hawkins was hiding behind the apple barrel. And all of a sudden, this child stands up in the auditorium and yells, "Look out, Jim, he's coming." Those are the moments that kept me going, that kept me on track. The children's reactions. Because children are so beautiful, they're so honest, that you want to do your best by them. Other kinds of moments that made me very happy were seeing the company bring in a new show, and work very hard under adverse conditions. Threat of the theater closing, not enough money to last the whole year. And seeing them do their job no matter what. Those were the kinds of moments that made me happy. So I don't know that there was a one moment. Maybe when I married my husband, that was a one moment. He was so much a part of what I did and so supportive and such a soulmate. And so maybe that.
Yeah. You two were an inspiration a lot to Carl and I as to how a partnership can work in this business. I think it's very important to note that there weren't a lot of people that I could look to who had a successful business running, but also successful personal life and family. And that you and Bill were one of the couples that I could see that were in the business that I was in. And he was doing something. He was in his business, really supporting you, like Carl supported me.
Yes.
And there I was, forging ahead on and trying to find the places that I wanted to be. There were a lot of places that I wanted to try things out with, and I was able to do that when I worked with you. It wasn't available to me all the time, but it was always available when I was there, the directing as well as doing roles that were never offered to people, women of color, at that point in time. There are women now who have done those roles subsequently, and they're of color, and I'm really glad for them, but they weren't, I had no examples at the very beginning, and we did it seamlessly. And that, I think, is a very important thing, because we did do it seamlessly. There was never any controversy about, who I was in that role. It was the role. The convention of my being in it really did work. And I was very happy about that, because that's what I got into theater to do, to practice my art, not to be a certain person because of what I look like, but to practice my art.
You and Carl were the same kind of couple. And I think that's what really attracted both Bill and me to want to spend time with you and Carl. But so much has to do with talent. And then the other part of it has to do with humanity. And your humanity touched me the first day I met you. And so it did the company as well. And creating theater is a collaboration, Lynnie. And you want to collaborate with people that are ready to do so.
Exactly. You don't want to, one of the productions that I wanted to remind you of is, what is it called? Wait, I'll wait a minute. I have it written down because I have no mind anymore. Oh, Rock Festival. Do you remember Rock Festival?
Oh, yes, you were in that too.
Yes. And Rose, what was Rose? It was Rose
Diak.
D-E-A-K. Yes, Diak. Yes, I remember her vividly. She was so European. She was
Hungarian.
Yes, she was.
And she is Hungarian.
Yes,
Fair lady. Well, she was an incredible director. She started out as a production stage manager in the professional theater in Hungary. And her husband was the George Székely, and he was the deputy director of the Theater Institute in Hungary.
Oh, really? Oh,
yes. In Europe, they have institutes, they have ministries of culture. We're still not there in this country. No. We have a great country, but we're still not there as far as the arts go.
Yeah.
The government and political people don't understand the value of the arts. John Houseman said to me, because he was a gentleman who really helped me get going, he said to me, the government is afraid of ideas, and the theater is about ideas. Remember that. That's what he said to me.
Yes.
Because he went through the whole blacklisting with Orson Welles. They did the Voodoo Macbeth. They did the Cradle Will Rock.
Yes.
All of those, under Hallie Flanagan, who headed up the National Theater, which ran for 3 years and then was closed down by Congress because of the McCarthy era.
Yes.
You're afraid of ideas.
Yeah.
Politicians, good government officials are not. But anyway, the Rock Festival, it was about the incident in Altamont, California. Oh, I have to turn it off.
Okay.
It was about it was a drug-infested rock festival. And our whole point was, because we taught across the disciplines with every show, was to use it as a cautionary tale for the middle schoolers and the high schoolers against drugs.
Yes, I remember I think it's C.E. Smith and Forrest Ray were in that. That's where I met them. We're still Facebook friends now. I haven't seen them in years personally, but Forrest maybe. But yes, I remember because Forrest played a rock. He had the guitar and he was doing something. I can't quite remember all of it. All of it was, it was like uh our own rock festivals that we had. What is it? What's the one? What's the big one that everybody always refers to, where everybody was out in the field, upstate New York?
Yes, I should. Shame on me. I can't think of it right now.
neither can I. But it was based on that kind of premise. That and we were all dressed in jeans, and I still have the practice that the ladies did of making the characters into Christmas ornaments.
Yes.
And
Yes.
Beverly was my character, had her own. I had a Christmas ornament for Beverly, and I had a Christmas ornament for Three Penny Opera.
Pirate Jenny.
Pirate Jenny. Yes, I had those.
I have a whole tin of the ornaments. And because I have a cat, I'm afraid to put them on the Christmas tree because I'm afraid they'll fall and crack.
Yeah.
So, but one of these years, I'll be brave enough to have a whole Christmas tree of dough ornaments from all the shows.
I do. I have a few from Knickerbocker Follies, and my mother bought two of Pirate Jenny, and two of Pirate Jenny, and I bought two. So and one got broken. So I actually have three Pirate Jennies and one Beverly. And then I've got about four from Knickerbocker Follies. Yeah, four from Knickerbocker Follies. Just so many wonderful memories. And John McGuire calling was just he made the evening for me, because he does validate that all of it really did happen, because I suspect that people hearing this going, really, did you all do all of that? Did you all go all those places? We did.
Yes.
We really did.
Well, John McGuire still works with us. We have a little theater in Saratoga Springs called iTheater. And John's in really almost every production we do.
Oh, really?
Yes, and he works with the children in the summer. He and Annie DeGange Holgate, Ron Holgate's wife. And so Mary Jane Hanson and my son Will Severin. And it's quite a nice group of people. It's a very small group of people.
Yeah.
But
it's the arts. We love the arts, I was listening to Patti LuPone, was online speaking about the opening of the theater in New York City. And she said, for those of us who love the arts, and I want to say all of us love the arts. All of us regard it a little differently. I think that Patti is very, very anxious to get back on stage and anxious to do all those things. And if you're not as anxious, it doesn't mean that you don't love the arts. It means that you're probably a little just bit more careful and leery about the safety of yourself and the audience at this point in time.
Yes. We're going to do something in late October, and an Agatha Christie, an original, which Mary Jane Hanson has adapted. It's one that's gone into public domain. And it's a small cast, and I think that's the only way you can work right now, just to be sure of the safety of the artists and to be sure of the safety of the audience.
I agree. I think if I were to do something now, I would favor something like Ladies of Song, because it is basically a one solo act, and can be achieved, edited to certain points, can be achieved in a certain time period. That appeals. That appeals.
It was a beautiful show. And you look gorgeous. Brent's costumes for you were fabulous.
Were absolutely, yeah. I mean, they were out of this world. Just out of
Richard's set was magnificent.
it's amazing. I mean, I still look on my website. I see, I surround my whole website. It's framed with his set.
Yeah.
Because his work is so brilliant. And I was just very, very fortunate to have one production after another production after another production, in which I was, I would go away, go do some, at some point I would go away and do television and come back on my breaks and say, okay, what are we doing this year? Can I come back this year?
Ladies of Song was Carl's idea.
Yes, it was. Carl's concept was Ladies of Song. You all had approached me, and I thank you about this, of doing a piece, and we tossed around a couple of things. I really do like that. Now I can't think of the name. The Barbara Stanwyck.
Bob Steinhauer directed it.
Yes,
Bob, he was with Hallmark Hall of Fame.
Yep.
And he won an Emmy, I believe. He was one of the producers on The Piano Lesson, the television version of The Piano Lesson.
August Wilson's Piano Lesson.
And Max Sparber wrote the book.
Wrote the book, yes.
And then, of course, you had the incredible divas, but you were the single diva, blind diva.
Well, I mean, and I got a chance to do a little bit of myself toward the end, which is really nice, because all of them inspired the fact that I could get there and do that. But the storylines that they all had to share, the challenges that every one of them had, was incredible, and as a singer, it was a challenge. As an actress, it was a challenge, and that, to have that opportunity. And I look forward to, there are certain things that I would like to try again. And I look forward to maybe taking that on one more time.
That was a really terrific show. We did it at the Douglas Fairbanks Theater off Broadway.
In New York. Yes.
Yeah. John McClane did the lighting.
Yes.
I'm just going back in my memory.
Yeah, I see you remembering far more than I did. I mean, it's
and of course, my favorite. I have 3 favorite female vocalists in the past. Ella Fitz.
Yeah, Ella Fitz.
She was my fave.
Yeah.
Then I liked, from the Mamas and the Papas, what was her name?
Cass. Mama Cass.
Mama Cass. And then I like Karen Carpenter.
Yes.
I like that mellow, and you have that mellow.
Yeah.
And I had the thrill of my life on a birthday one year when Ella Fitzgerald appeared at the Saratoga Performing Arts Center, and Bill purchased first row center tickets for me for my birthday. And I was in heaven.
Yes. I mean, it's a wonderful opportunity to revisit them without. And one of the things I remember, when I finally did read, because Robert was insistent that I read the articles dedicated reviewing the show, and I didn't do it for a long while, but I did do it before we closed. And one of them they were also very, very kind, but one of them,
wonderful reviews.
Thank you. Yes. And one of them said that what was interesting to him is that I did not try to imitate their voices.
Right.
It never even occurred to me to do that. I come closest to Sarah Vaughan, but I still didn't want to even try to do that. I wanted to try to bring to life the essence of them through me. It's almost like a channeling without imitating, because I think that people who, there are enough, there are people who imitate. That's what they do, but an interpretation of someone's life for me
Yes.
was more important for the story comes out, because if you really want to hear the person, and that's what happened, it made people go and buy their albums again and buy their CDs. People would bring them. We would have people who would be coming back. There were people who came back again and again and again, and they would show me that they went out and bought a Sarah Vaughan album because they were so interested in her, in her life and the songs that she sang and the inference that I alluded to for her, And the same thing with Ella Fitzgerald. But Ethel Waters, her career was not so much of the recordings, it was more theatrical, and most of the time, most people remembered her when she was older.
In the movies.
In the movies. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the movies.
Yeah.
She was a very loving, warm figure, I thought.
Yeah. Yeah. She was really, the transition that she made from vaudeville to Broadway. I mean, we talked about it, but when I sit here as an actor and I think how difficult that transition, the style of it was, the broadness of vaudeville, and how specific she was when she would get to Broadway and do Supper Time.
Beautiful. That was song.
Yeah. It's just amazing. They were amazing women, just totally amazing.
And what they had to go through to be able to share their art with us is shameful.
Yeah.
And I admire them, not just for their talent, but for their courage, their determination, their discipline, and their humanity.
Yeah.
There's so much we can all learn from people that
difficult.
came before us.
Yeah. It was a very difficult time, the challenges that they had to go through, and I think that it's important that we all appreciate what they had to do in order to get here, and that those recollections should be recorded accurately.
Yes.
I don't think they're recorded as accurately as they could be, and that we need to take care of that business that needs to happen, and give them the credit that they deserve, because it's incredible the amount of challenges that those women had to do to be a woman. Sarah Vaughan on the road.
Be a woman and to be a minority.
Yes, and to be a person of color. Yes, absolutely.
To be a person of color. Absolutely.
That's a great challenge. Great challenge, So I really admire them so much, because my life is like fluff compared to them, compared to what
you
they
work
had to
hard,
do.
Lynnie. You work hard, and you make other people happy.
Well,
and that's what I want to say. I think that's why we fell in love with you in 1982.
Okay. Well, it was a great company of people, though. I mean, everybody was very accepting. Everybody wanted the show to be good.
Yes.
And Jack Guilford was just the best.
Yes, he was a
his
lovely
his wife was fabulous.
She was a character.
Yes. Oh, he was a character off stage too, but on stage you never knew. He had that kind of look in his eye, and you go, oh boy, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? And it was just an opportunity. The opportunities that I've had over these years, that the arts has brought to me, working with people who are absolutely fabulous. I've been so very blessed,
and I have as well.
Yeah. Well, Patricia.
Well, Lynnie.
I think we've done it. I think we did pretty good on the radio.
Well, thank you.
Yes,
Thank
thank
you
you.
for inviting me.
Oh, thank you for accepting. That's the important thing. Thank you for accepting. And we'll do it some more.
Okay,
But I'll be calling you with all of my issues.
anytime.
I love you.
Love you too, Lynnie. Good night.
Good night.